So, big result Saturday, Stuart. How pleased are you with the not just the result, the performance from the boys?
Yeah, I think obviously we want to win games both at home and away. So I think in terms of an away performance, it was very good, start to finish. You know, we were creating chances throughout the game. I thought we looked strong, resolute, in what we wanted to be when we didn't have the ball. So yeah, you go to tough venues. I think it was pitched to me before the game by a number of people, in one or two interviews before it, that it could be as tough a place as you could go at that minute in time. You know, with a team that's really in form and playing well. So I think that just adds another layer to the result and the performance. But it's not just about that one game. We want to have a level of consistency, and I'll reiterate the fact that I feel that we've had so many spells since the start of the season where we've played equally as well, and sometimes maybe not come out with what we feel we might deserve, but I think what it does show is a really good togetherness. I think it shows a really good buy-in for the group of players, and we want to go and try and follow that with our performance. And I do believe those performances can get you results, you know. So the bit that you talk about at the end, that we all get carried away with, good or bad, I just feel that if you can keep that level of performance, you always find yourself a really competitive side.
How happy were you at the response of Bruce Anderson, for example, and Greg Kiltie, we touched on last week, at their response of, you know, maybe being disappointed at missing out, starting to come in and show that level of performance?
These guys speak for themselves. They don't get that opportunity to come and show how good the players that they are, if they don't act properly every single day. And I've said it before, and I'll reiterate this again, for the squad, for the football club, that's what I expect. It's the non-negotiable bit. You know, sometimes you'll be disappointed. It's not your job as a player to pick the team. It's mine, with all due respect. But I'm not surprised about the performance, because I'm seeing that from them every single day. If they're moping about and they're not found their levels and they're not showing the quality that they undoubtedly have, then we would have been a wee bit surprised that they play well. But the fact of the matter is that they've been performing really well, really challenging me, really asked a question of me, but not just them. Everybody that's kind of been missing out has been doing the same. You know, levels will fluctuate with players. You have some good days, you have some bad days, but as long as you're always showing that willingness to do the right things, and as I say, absolutely no surprise to see those two that you mentioned, in particular Bruce and Greg, perform to the standard in which they did.
And another bit of good news for the club this week: George Stanger, international cap, Gennaro Daniels and Davy Watson again, Scotland under-21s. How impressed have you been with the two boys that have got full international caps since they've come in the building?
Nah, I don't know if it's good news. They're travelling all over the world. Nah, all kidding aside, it's brilliant news for the football club. I'm always a huge advocate of, you know, when we bring players here, and mentioned a couple of them that are going to get a chance, full international caps, that's part of a conversation. You know, we want to try and give them a platform to try and achieve their goals. The guys they're so switched on now. They know what's achievable. They know where they can get to if they perform well and they do it at the right level. So I think it's safe to say with Gennaro and with the likes of George, that was things that were mentioned when we were trying to sign them, to try and give them that platform. But as always, they won't get there unless they're doing something right and they're showing up well. And I think when you look at both players, they've been consistent. I think they've both had really good minutes and opportunities. And probably the case of Gennaro, he'll be disappointed to miss out from the start against Dundee United, but I don't think it showed when he came on. I thought he was excellent when he came on. So again, it's just having this competitive nature about the football club, and something I'm a huge believer in, that you can actually drive each other on to success. And, you know, that can be at Kilmarnock, which is first and foremost our importance, but if the standards and the competitive edges there on match days and training days, these guys are actually pushing each other on to go and get international caps and get individual accolades, and hopefully get those team accolades as well.
And just chatting about the last person I mentioned there, Davy Watson, kind of picking up his form from 2 seasons ago, that's seen him win Young Player of the Year. Is there any update for supporters that are maybe a little bit worried about the contract situation with David Watson?
I'll state the obvious here. Again, we want to keep the best players that we possibly can. We feel we've been really proactive in doing so. We want to try and make sure that we've got the strongest squad together. I think everybody in this room will understand that I'm huge on player trading and making sure that you protect the investments of the football club. That aligns with the board, with the hierarchy at the football club. So my kind of catchphrase in this situation is you always need all parties to be on board. I think what that used to be in the olden days was the manager would sit down and everybody sees the funny story of a blank contract with Brian Clough, and he sits it down in front of Crosley, which is one of the tremendous stories, and tells him to sign it. The world doesn't work like that anymore, so we need the buy-in from the player, the agent, the family, and obviously the football club, and we all need to align and we all need to make sure that that's what everybody wants. We're working really hard, and I can safely say that in day one when I came into the football club we'd identified all that, and we've been working at that since the last couple of days in May. So that probably gives you a reasonable indication of what we're trying to do, and hopefully that all comes to fruition, and we have a strong group of players with sellable assets at Kilmarnock Football Club.
And just last one from me, Stuart, St Mirren on Saturday. How much are the players looking forward to putting the cup disappointment to right against St Mirren on Saturday?
I think we've done that on Saturday past, so I don't think we get too lost in that, and being a personal vendetta because we'd lost out in a penalty shootout, a really competitive games. But we're a group of competitors, staff and players. We want to win everything. We want to be ultra competitive in everything that we do. So it's the next opponent. I spoke about the ironic kind of unusual situation of sitting here in the first couple of days of October. And we'll have played by the end of the weekend St Mirren twice, Livingston twice, and Dundee United twice. So there's familiar faces coming. We understand what St Mirren's about, they'll understand what we're about, and I genuinely do believe it's a classic case of executing what you want to do as best you possibly can, and I think there'll be fine margins here on Saturday. I'm saying all the same things I said when it was the cup game. But you're playing against a good side, a strong side that are consistent, and we want to go and continue our consistency in our performance, and hopefully we come out on the right side of it. But we're not going to get anything for free on Saturday, that's for sure.
Can I just take you back to Bruce Anderson? Is this a chance for him to really get a run starting to look at last season as well? I think he had as many starts as he had sub appearances, but he was kind of way out in front in terms of goals in the squad. Is it a case of delivering that 90-minute performance when he starts to make sure he's not seen as an impact player off the bench as well?
Nah, I think when I first came in an individual conversation with Bruce, for example, I don't see him as a sub, and I never come here with that mindset that Bruce was just one of these kind of impact players. That was never what I'd seen. He's a player that I had been interested in previously, and worked pretty hard to try and get him before he come to Kilmarnock. And again, I don't think you do that with somebody that you think's just an impact player. So that probably shows you there's a wee bit of history dating back. I tried to take him on loan years ago when he was at Aberdeen as well. So again, it probably gives you that reasonable indication of what I think of the player, and it was another one of those kind of nucleus that I inherited here that I was really happy to inherit. So no, I think Bruce has shown us so much. He goes and gets his goal. Bruce will tell you himself that he plays football to score goals. He brings so much else. When you watch him, his movement's intelligent. He can play in a front two. I think he can play as a lone striker. So no, there's no surprises to me about what Bruce is. And what I always try and do with any of my teams, and I think historically you can look through the records, is that I would always be looking for somebody that can get, or several that can get into double figures. We all are. We're all looking for somebody that can get into double figures in the league. And I think if you do that, it generally generates some sort of success at your football club. So I think the goal that Bruce scores on Saturday is symptomatic of what he is, by shifting the ball and finishing it with so much composure. But go and have a look at some of his all-round play within the game and how that connects with his teammates as well. There's a lot of good stuff other than just hitting the back of the net, and we hope that he goes from strength to strength along with the rest of them throughout the course of the season.
How's your team news looking in the back?
We've got we're pretty much as you were. Scott Tiffany's another week into recovering from a longer term injury, which is great for us. Somebody we know that knows the league, that brings a different profile to our team. And we've got a concern about Marley Watkins. It looks as if Marley's going to miss a period of time. If you look at his chance he gets towards the end of the game to make it 3-0, you'll see that he starts kind of hobbling at the end of that as well. So he's got a problem with his heel. We have had it scanned. We probably just need to see how that settles over the next sort of week or so. But I think it would be fair to say at this point he's going to miss a period of time.
Is that something that you just picked up in the game? Or
it was in the game, completely innocuous. Yeah, we don't even think it was contact. I think it was almost just planting his foot. Don't ask me for all the terminology because you know I'm not the man for that. But he's going to miss. He's going to miss several weeks.